Hello. So this video is a performance review of Cutthroat Christmas by Kari Williamson and Stefanie Austin, the staged reading version. The original production run of Cutthroat Christmas took place 2 years ago in 2002, I believe. But because Sock Buskin, the community theater company we're all part of, is now staging Cutthroat Christmas Deadly Deals, the sequel to Cutthroat Christmas. They did a staged reading of the original so that people who didn't get to see it the first time around would have that background for going into the second show. So, as a staged reading, this is a very distinct performance style, right? A staged reading is not a full production of a play, but it dramatizes the play enough that you understand what's going on and you can have a general sense of what this might look like in performance. So it's a unique genre in that sense. It is a weird genre because it's not a full performance, but it is a performance. So much of the original cast was there. There were only two people, I think, who were not in the original production who were in this staged reading. Brent Ottaway had to step in for whoever it was that had played Nicholas in the original, and Chris Hirsch had to step in for Greg Baptista, playing the character of Greg. But other than that, everybody reprised their original roles, and so that actually worked out really, really well for a staged reading, because one of the things that you want to do in a staged reading is to convey who this character is, their emotional reactions, their behaviors, quirks, nuances, etc., etc. And so if you were in a performance of the play, you can bring all of that to the staged reading. So, for instance, Nate Shireman, who plays Michael, he was really able to bring that sort of affect of vacillating between pompous arrogance and a clear lack of self-confidence that's so central to Michael's character. Nicole Summers, who plays Alexa, one of the gags with that character, because her name is Alexa, is there are points where she answers questions in this very robotic voice. And because she had that practice, again, all of the characters, all of the actors were able to bring that affect from the original performance and carry it through to the staged reading. And so even without sort of full blocking, without set, without props, etc., etc., you got that sort of rich, full sense of who these characters are and what's happening with them. So the story itself, the story is set at the Kringle Company, which is a tech company that has made a gift-giving app, basically. The general gist of it seems to be that you put in information about the person that you want to buy a gift for, and it scours the internet, whatever it is, and it finds a personalized gift for that person, something that they will actually want, as opposed to something that they will accept and have it be a sort of it's the thought that counts type moment. The company has been doing really, really well, but now the CEO, Nicholas, wants to retire. And so he is going to announce his successor, the new CEO, at the company Christmas party, which is where the play is set. There are several VPs. We have Greg, who's the VP of Sales. We have, who in the original was played by Greg Baptista. In the read-through was played by Chris Hirsch. We have Christy, who's the VP of HR, played by Kari Williamson. We have Michael, who's the VP of IT, played by Nate Shireman. And we have Jennifer, who's the VP of something else. I can't remember what. But she's the most sort of focused and dedicated of them. And Jennifer was played by Andrea Boito, both in the original and in the read-through. So with the exception of Christy, who knows who is getting the promotion because she is head of HR and she processed the paperwork, the others are sort of squabbling amongst themselves over who should get to be the new CEO. Nicholas, again, played in the read-through by Brent Ottaway, is trying to sort of navigate that, along with the fact that there seems to be some corporate espionage going on. Somebody seems to be leaking corporate secrets to their competitors, who then get the jump on actually producing those technologies or releasing those innovations, whatever it is. He's also trying to manage his wife, Margaret, played by Christine Allen, who is very family focused, somewhat obsessively so. She's very, very, very excited that Nicholas is retiring in the hopes that they can start a family. She's also really obsessed with her brother being a doctor, though toward the end we find out that rather than a medical doctor, which she's sort of implied throughout, he's actually a doctor of history. So all of that is going on. At the same time, sort of on the fringes of this stuff, you have Taylor, played by Lily Falcone-Gunter. Taylor is the intern for IT, and the big sort of gag with this is that neither Michael, especially not Michael, but neither Michael nor Greg can ever remember her name. So they just substitute in other T names, and she and occasionally Jennifer go around correcting them. And apparently, according to Stephanie Austin, who directed, she directed the staged reading, she produced and assistant directed the original performance. Apparently, the cast just chooses T names at random. Like, they're not necessarily scripted that way. They just make up whatever T name pops into their head for that particular line. My favorite one last night, Nate used this one when he called her Tippy Canoe. So that's just a fun one, but it's a good thing. They get to have fun with it. Obviously, it's a comedy, but it's also a murder mystery. So, at some point, Alexa gets murdered. Enter Detective Jingles, played by J. Lance Wilkinson in both the read-through and the original. Detective Jingles shows up dressed like an elf because he had been voluntold by his captain that he was going to be volunteering at this children's party. Detective Jingles is this sort of gruff homicide detective, very sort of hard-boiled film noir style, and he investigates the murder. So one of the things that was different about this staged reading versus the original production is that Sock Buskin does a lot of murder mystery comedy dinner theater. Yes, that's a lot of adjectives. But a lot of the murder mysteries that are written by Kari and Stefanie, or one or the other of them, are designed for dinner theater. So after the murder occurs, you will have a sort of interval or intermission in which the actors circulate around the tables where the audience is eating. And as the audience, you have to ask them questions to try and figure out if they are the murderer. And then you write down your guess and turn it in, et cetera, et cetera. So that obviously didn't happen in this instance. There wasn't really that sort of formal circulation in the way that there was with the original production. But then they come back and it's sort of talked through who had motive, what all the motives were. And finally, the culprits are revealed. I won't spoil it in case you ever do get to see it. It's a really good show. You also can buy the rights to do the script from, I can't remember the name of, Knock 'em Dead Scripts. I'll put a link to that down below in the description. Kari and Stefanie's script company, where they sell the rights to perform their plays. Definitely worth it. It's a good show.